Hello everyone, welcome to SAP Technomaniac. In this video, we will learn ETag code base approach. In my previous video of ETag, I think that was the 22nd video of this OData series, we have learned that what is concurrency control and what is ETag. How ETag help us to achieve the concurrency control. Concurrency control means when multiple users want to update the same data and there should not be conflict. To avoid the conflicts, we use the concurrency control, and that how we will do using the ETags. In that video, we have created Z employee RAM project. In that project, we have one simple employee entity type and employee set entity set. There we were doing the CURD operation, create, read, update and delete operations. But during the update operation, we want to make sure that we should not update the data which is already updated by other users. Whatever we have fetched the data, we should update that and that data, and whatever we are going to update now, in between, if somebody changed the data, we should not update that data. We want to make sure that concurrency control. To do that, we have created one property called timestamp, and that property we have given in entity type ETag field timestamp. Once we give this field as a ETag field, this property is a ETag field, and we will try to update the data, it will ask for one ETag value in if match field. Otherwise, it will say you have to mandatorily pass the ETag value to update the data. Otherwise, you will get error obviously. This we did using the framework approach. Thus, we came here and we have updated one property as a ETag, and for work and framework automatically check this ETag value whenever we are doing the updates in the system. For the concurrency control, we didn't write any single line code. We just make a one property field, one property is a ETag, and that property automatically compared by the framework during the update. It called the read get entity method, read the ETag value, both whatever your ETag value you are sending and whatever the ETag value which you are getting from get entity method, both are same, then it will allow for update. Otherwise, it will not allow for update, and it will say somebody else changed the data in between your read and your update. That's how ETag was working. But the thing is, in code base approach, why we need first code base approach, that we have to think. There are little bit drawbacks whatever the frameworks are providing, and not only the drawbacks, some of the places when we create the OData service with a reference to CDS view, that time this particular ETag property we can't change here. When RDS approach, for example, I have created one for practice purpose, why employee SADL project, we will see in the system as well to show you where I was creating the OData service one with the reference to the some of the CDS view. So with reference to CDS view, I want to create the OData service, I created. But if you try to give your ETag property in the ETag field of this entity type which have generated through your CDS, you will be not able to edit over here. It will not allow you to edit here. Then how to give one property as a ETag? To achieve this, we have to do in the model provider class extension. Model provider class will be generated based on your SCGW project, and on top of that, whatever you want to do, you can do in the model provider class extension. That we will do in today's video. Not only that, this is the one thing we need, where we need the code base approach. Apart from that, if you are implementing some functions import thing, for example, you are doing some updates using the function import, there you want the ETag support, there also you have to do the code base approach, because there you don't have the Gantt entities method which will compare your ETag values. Not only that, in the normal scenario also, where you have the framework support, there is one little bit drawback. It's not major one, but small drawback is there. When you update the data and the database, that time when you have provided your ETag property and you pass the ETag value during the update, what the framework do, it will call the get entity method and it will get the ETag value, and whatever your ETag value which you are providing in the header, both it will compare. If it will match, then it will go for the update. But in this case, when it will read the data, it got matched, and then it will call the update method. In between them, somebody else came into picture and it updated the data, because before the read we have to lock and then we have to read. But in this case, lock things we are doing in update method, not in the read method, get entity method. When we are updating the data, that time we are locking data. In small fraction of second something can happen, but it's a very rare scenario, rare to rare. It's not possible at all, because it's called within fraction of second, but still it is possible. So because when we update the data in update method, that time we will log the table, then update and then unlock the data. But we have read, and before the lock and read, if somebody change the data, we can't do anything. So to avoid this kind of scenario, if in your scenario it is possible, then you have to do this code-based approach. Next thing, the last video we have given the property as a timestamp, but in this video we will do little bit different way, because we want to explore different things as well. Instead of the timestamp field as a ETag property, ETag, we will create one hashtag value, and that hashtag field we will give as a ETag in this video. So we will differentiate between how to do this hashtag thing as well, because always the timestamp will not available in your table or in your entity tab. That might be possible, it is not available, and only the date is available, time is not available, time is available, date is not available. That can be possible. So hashtag is the solution for that. If we use hashtag, we don't need any timestamp field. So this is enough about theory. We will jump into the system. I recommend you to watch that's 20-second video before coming to this. Otherwise, you will not understand a lot of things. So we watch that video and come to this video. We'll jump into the system. We'll see whatever we discuss in this theory part. In my previous video, we have created G-Employee RAM project. There I have explained basics of ETag. In that project, we will quickly revise what we did. And on top of that, we will create another project where we will use CDS instead of using this table as a reference or table as a data source. We will use a CDS as a data source, and we will create another project, and there we will understand this concept of code-based implementation using ETag. So quickly revise what we did. So if you remember from either you have watched my card operation video or watched my ETag video, we have this G-Employee RAM table, RAM project, which is based on this G-Employee RAM table. Using this project, we are reading the data from this table, we are updating the data from this table, we are deleting or we are modifying. That we were able to do successfully. So in this project, we have created one entity type with reference to G-Employee RAM table. If you see the table, we can see all the properties of G-Employee RAM table. If you go and G-Employee RAM table, see apart from this ETag, which I have added today only, the all other field you can see in this project, G-Employee RAM table, including the timestamp as well. So in last video, we used this timestamp field as a ETag field. As I explained in my theory part, to define any property as a ETag, you have to go to your entity type and you have to give your ETag value as a time, that particular property. In this case, timestamp was the property of the property which handle the ETag, or it act as a ETag value. So that is the reason I have give this property as a ETag. We were having the development also for this G employee RAM project. If you open this runtime artifacts which got generated through this project, and if you go to the DPC extension class where we have wrote the code, in this DPC extension class we have defined 4 methods: get entity set, create entity, update entity, and delete entity. But in today's video we will be not needing get entity and get entity set method, because we will be using CDS. With reference to CDS we are going to create the project. So read operation will work out of the box, but for update, create and delete we have to do some implementation. So we will refer little bit code from here, or we will try to write fresh code as well. And in this, all the things were working perfectly. In my previous ETag video, if you remember, whenever we are updating or creating data in the database, that time we were updating this particular get timestamped property. With each time new we are getting, whenever we are creating the data or when we are updating the data, we are getting the new timestamp value, and we were updating in this timestamp property of that particular project or entity type or entity field, or we can say in the table. So each time when we create, update, that timestamp value will get changed. And when next time when we are updating the data, that time before updating the data we were matching the timestamp value are same which we got the data to update. If it is not same, somebody else could change the data and timestamp is mismatching, ETag value is mismatching, the system was giving error. That was out of the box. We didn't do single line implementation to work ETag. Just we have filled this particular timestamp value in our create and update entity. We didn't change anything apart from this project. We have added timestamp. We didn't change anything at all, because everything is taken care by our framework. How framework was working? Whenever we were updating the data, first it is asking, as soon as you update this ETag as a timestamp, you have to pass that ETag value along with your payload. In the header you have to pass the if match, and in if match and you have to pass the ETag value, and that ETag value will be compared when we get the data from the get entity. Even you are updating the data, framework what it will do, it will call first get entity method and get the ETag value and compare with the ETag value which you are sending through if match. Both are matched, then it will allow to call the update function module, update entity method. Otherwise it will not allow you to call the update entity method, and it will throw you error precondition failed. Means somebody else changed in between your read and your update data. That's how it was working. It's a quick revision. Now in this video we are going to use Z employee RAM table only, but little bit different way, because I want to explain the code base approach. As I told you in my theory part, when we need the code base approach, when we use the reference data source, means data source CDS is a data source in our OData project. So I have created on top of this table one CDS view. You can create the interface view, then consumption view. You can create multiple tables, then you create the data model and one final consumption view. However you want to do, you can do. There is no problem in that. To explain the concept, I have just created basic G employee RAM on this particular CDS view on top of G employee RAM. It's very simple. You just have to right click on the table and create data definition. I just right click over here, new data definition, and this code will be generated, and you have to select the defined view entity, not your DDIC based CDS view that I have already explained multiple times throughout the CDS series and this in this series also. This simple CDS view I have created using the defined view entity. This CDS view we have created. Now we will use this CDS view in our code. So as you can see, I'm not getting all the fields from this table. I just commented the timestamp field. I don't need the timestamp field and I don't want to fill as well. I just need the ETag field as a. Now I will create one hashtag value instead of using the timestamp value as a ETag field. I will use one hashtag value as a ETag field. I can give you hashtag HASTAG, some other name as well. Control F3. Let me activate this one. Okay, let me go to here. You can see this is the ETag is type of hashtag hash value. If you do F2 over here, you can see hash value 160 bit. It's in the it's store 12 bits and bytes it will store. So you can see char 40 and you up to 40 character it will store and it will generate automatically using one function module. We will show you which function module as well. Before going that, let me see what happened. Control F3 if I do, there is some issue. No, it got activated successfully. Now I will not change. Once you have done in the CDS, you have to go to your STGW. Now I want to create new project. I will not use this G employee RAM. Let me create new project, or let me go to SEGW T code. I think it's got Alt F8. Sorry, I opened different T code. SEGW T code I will open. I will create one new project over here. There was some connection issue, not an issue. I will create G employee RAM RDS. RDS means reference data source. I'm using CDS as a reference data source. So in this one, which CDS I am using, you can give the CDS view as well if you have consumption view. If you don't have multiple CDS view, in this case, you can give GC employee RAM 01 underscore RDS also you can give. Let me change a little bit name. GC employee RAM underscore 01 underscore RDS. In case of you are using multiple CDS views in one project, you should not use the CDS view name. You have to give some appropriate name, but make sure you either you add SADL framework or RDS reference data source. You will get to know this particular project created using with reference to CDS. It is the naming convention you have to follow. So that's fine. I can give some description. CDS consumption OData for ETag code based approach. Okay, you have to give appropriate package name and you have to click on enter. This will create one project in your SEGW. As I told you, last time when we created G employee RAM project, we right clicked on here and we imported from DDIC structure and we have given G employee RAM DDIC structure. But this time we will use our CDS view name. We will use reference to data source and we will give the CDS view name as a data source. Click on next button, click on finish. If you have association, then you have to select the association if you want to use. That I have explained in my last video. But simple, I have one CDS final consumption view without any association, no need to worry. Now you can see here your entity types. You can see here all the things, all properties automatically came from here. City, currency, department, ETag, hashtag, everything came. I will try to do in entity type fields. I want to change this ETag. You can see it is non-editable field. Other field also non-editable only. Let me click on edit button if I can. Okay, it is asking it's in edit mode only. So you can see if I try to select from here, for example, I want to give this hashtag as a ETag, I'm not able to select. Since we have generated this OData project with reference to CDS, you can't change the entity type values or entity types you can't change, you can't assign any ETag value. So how to assign this ETag? There is one way. We have to do little bit implementation in MPC extension class. I will show you. Before that, let me generate the project, runtime artifacts we can say. Yeah, it will ask for the TR. It will generate MPC extension class, MPC, DPC extension class, DPC, model and service as normal. You have to give appropriate package name and click on save button and give appropriate TR. Once the TR is done, it will generate automatically all the classes. No need to worry about that. Or you can change the class name also. You can see double time Z is coming, but it's okay. You have to give the naming convention as per your requirement. You would have started with C underscore employee 01, something like that project name. The classes got generated automatically. You can see runtime artifact already automatically got generated, and you can see all the name also. So what all are the classes got generated? GC employee, GC ZCL GC employee RAM01 MPC extension class, MPC DPC extension class, DPC service model provider class, and one annotation file also got generated, which is having all the OData, because we have created with reference to the CDS. So that is the reason this annotation file got generated. Now let me go to my MPC extension class. Go to ABAP workbench. Here what I will do, I will add the one of my property as a ETag. That property I have to define which property is a ETag I want to use, because I was not able to do in my project. So this is called code based approach. Even in your normal project also you can do. If you have this part, you can do in the normal project there itself, because we no need to worry about which property we have to use. That automatically generate in the G employee. For example, when we did for the Z employee RAM project, just we went inside. If you open again this G employee RAM project, and if you want to go here, employee entity set name, employee, not this one, sorry. Let me minimize that entire project and let me open the data model, entity type, employee. You can see timestamp. Even I want to change now something else, I can change here if it is in edit mode, but it's currently it is not edit mode. We are not able to do. So we were able to do here, run when we are creating our model itself. And this model, whatever we are doing here in the SEGW, it will be available everything, as I told you in my previous video, also in the MPC class, model provider class. If you open the model provider class, it will be having one entity type automatically got generated. So you will be having one define method. Inside the define method, you can see define RDS, but it's a little bit different because with reference to CDS we have created all the things. So that is the reason you can see little bit different code over here. It is auto generated code by the SADL framework, you can see. But you can see the service name and everything. You can see you have the entities here and you have the structures and everything are same. There are 4 methods as usual: define, get last modified, and define RDS. This one more method got added because we are doing with reference to data source as a CDS. Like that we are doing. It is auto generated code. No need to worry about much about that. So what we can do, I just go to my MPC class. You can see the define method is a public method. I want to redefine. Obviously we have to do in the public section only. So you have to come here and click on enter button in MPC extension class to edit this one, and we will redefine the define method. We will call the super class define method. So all the functionality whatever we define in a SEGW project will be available, and on top of that we will do additional thing. So what we will do, methods I will do define, control space you can do define, and you can try redefinition. The redefinition I have done, and that's it. Control 1 you have to do, add implementation for this one. And in the implementation, what I will do, I will call first important thing, I will call super, SUPER super class define method, because I don't want to lose my functionality of super class functionality, and you have to handle a try catch block you have to put, and you have to handle the exceptions as usual we do. So that's very important. Control F3. If I run as is, there will be no impact because just we are calling in subclass define method. Now our goal is to add an property as a ETag value because we were not able to do inside the SCGW project. Now we will do here. To do that, we have to remember one of the most important attribute of this particular super class. We can see for this MPC extension class we have the MPC super class, and for this MPC class we have another super class, and I hope so we can see hierarchy over here if it is possible. Here we are not able to see. Control T you click on, then it will show you the hierarchy of your classes and methods. It will automatically show you all the hierarchy, but here we are not able to see quick hierarchy, but supermost class is having the model attribute. Through that model attribute in subclasses we can access any entity type, any properties of those entity type. So we will do the same, and we can modify those entity type at the runtime, not that is design time. Whatever we are doing in the SCGW, that is design time. Now if on top of that we want to do inside the MPC extension class, that will be in the runtime. So let me go to and see what was the my entity type. For that I think so it got disconnected. Let me open SM12 or Alt F8 you can do, and you can open SM12. The server time is very less, session server time, so that is the reason it is again and again it is locking and unlocking. It's disconnecting from the application server. Let me delete all the things and let me open this project. Which project we have created just now? We have created where it is Z Technomaniac, Z Cells, or GC. Let me refresh it out. F5 you do, it will refresh it out. You can see this one. It will open in another session. Let me close this one. So we can come here. I have already generated runtime artifacts. I just want to see what was my entity type name. So if you see the entity type name, basically your CDSU name underscore type or type, that's it. So you can see CDSU name, type, and entity set name will be your CDSU name. So like that you can find. As of now, I want to get this entity type, and based on this entity type, let me do Control C. To do that, I have to access this entity type and modify one of the property. So I will access through this model attribute. If I do Control space, get entity type method is there. Get entity set, no, get entity type I want to get. Shift enter you will do, and you have to give your entity type name. Obviously I will give my entity type name as this. Now what I want to do next, once I get the entity type, and the next is I want to get the property of this particular entity type. Chaining we are using get property, get underscore properties. I just want to get the single property. Shift enter you will do. You have to give the property name. So you can come and here see what was the property. I think in this case the ETag is my property name. So start date, end date, hashtag, not ETag. We have changed in the CDS, so it reflected here. Control C. So same property name I have to use here over here. Control V. And once I got this property name, the next step I have to set this property as a ETag. So there is set underscore is ETag is there, and shift enter you will do. It will be act like a ETag. So this is the step we have to perform in the MPC extensions class. Since we were not able to perform this action in our design time in SCGW project, so we did here to create a ETag property, or we can say any property we can define as a ETag. Now this particular hashtag field will work as a ETag. I have activated this one. This was the first step. Now second step, let me go to my DPC extension class. You can come from, you little bit, you can increase here and you can come here, you can see the DPC extension class here, or you can go to the project and from there also you can navigate. Not this one, I don't want to open the sales order DPC extension class. I want to open the GC employee RAM DPC extension class 01. I think I have to refresh the table, then I can get all the objects. F5 you can do, it will refresh the table. Now I can see the GC employee RAM DPC extension class. As of now, I can see there is no method got implemented over here. I have to implement some of the method like we did in my G employee RAM project, older project. We no need to implement get entity set method, but we have to implement the update, create and delete. To see that what all are these methods, you have to go to your super class, DPC class. We can open it parallelly and we can minimize this one is not needed. And here a lot of things are there. So in this case, suppose I want to update the data in the system, the update entity, what method it is called? It is GC employee RAM underscore update entity method is calling. Now I want to modify this particular method. As of now, it is done by the runtime artifacts. And when we try to access this entity, let me show you how we can access. This is normal. Our get will work out of the box, that also I will show you. So what we can do, we can go to our gateway hub and we can open our gateway client to test all those things, and open the SAP gateway client. Service not generated, we have to register the service obviously. So for that we have to click on register our service, or you can go to, if you have different hub system, you have to go to that system and go to IWFND /man underscore service T code, and there also you can do. Let me maintain as a local alias name, and you have to define your service over here, and let me click on enter. Oh, you have to give package name, G Technomaniac I will give, and let me click on enter, give appropriate TR, and that's it, that is done. Now my service got generated. Let me, what we can say, service got registered, generated at the time of the runtime artifact generation itself, it got generated. My service got registered. Now I will click on SAP gateway client to test my service, how it is working. It will open another session. You can see over here, and let me get entity set method. I want to get the data from the system. Is it working or not? You can see CDSU name we are giving, and I will add URI option, $format equal to JSON. I don't want to write each and everything. Let me open this table and see what data we have. For that, let me go to my GC employee RAM table, or you can see through CDS as well, or you can see in the table as well. Both ways fine. Let me see in the table. Let me do F8 over here. You can see a lot of data is available. Let me see this 15th entry, which I recently created, or any entry if you want to pass, you can get using the get entity set method. Since we have generated this OData service using the SADL framework, all the read operation work with filter, group by, or sorting, all the things will work out of the workbox without any implementation, as I showed you in my previous video. But I don't want to read only, I just not want to read as well, I want to update as well. I want to update this data. So as usual we do, use as a request, and let me delete the data, metadata, and let me, instead of post, let me put for updating the data, remove this thing, and we have to pass obviously the key field and other things we are passing. Let me pass something. Let me remove only, put Bangalore only instead of Karnataka. That's a small change I am doing. Let me execute again. So it is saying that there is some issue. Updating operations are disabled for this entity. There is no, as of now, there is no updated operations are available. As I told you, it will not work out of the box. For that, we have to do some implementation. Let's do some implementation. Let me remove this. No. To doing this implementation, what we can do? we have to implement this GC employee RAM. This error is coming. If you put breakpoint over here, this error is coming from this update entity method. As of now, since it is not implemented, we have to redefine this method. Control C, you click on up. Okay, we are not able to do. So let me select, I don't want to see error. I don't want to see on infos. I just want to see ABAP occurrence and occurrence. That's it, nothing else. I just want to see ABAP occurrence. Let me see now it will go up or not. Yeah, I just want to see which, you can see private section. I think it is declared in protected section. So we have to redefine this particular method in the protected section. That's only I want to see. You can come to directly in protected section and click on enter button to redefine the method. You can go to SE24 and redefine also. It will automatically redefine, but always work with Eclipse because this is the future. I can see. So let's it lock. It's taking little bit time. Okay, simple, right? Methods, give method name. I want to redefine this one. Redefinition, that's it. You can do control 1. Oh, not only update entity method, I want to redefine some other method also, create and delete as well. Let me put comma. Let me put GC underscore EM control space. I will do create entity also. I want to redefine. You can do redefinition. I want to GC. There is one more method. Delete entity, shift enter I can do. I want to redefine this method also. After doing this all the things, just you have to do what it is the error is saying. Missing the implementation. Yeah, it's control 1 you can do. Add 3 implementation. It will add all 3 implementation over here. You can do control F3. Now if you try to execute this update method, it will come to here. Now I want to update all the data. So I will, instead of writing all the code again and again, same thing, I will take little bit reference from my older project. What was my project? GC employee RAM underscore MPC extension class I will be having. That is for my GC employee RAM DPC extension, G employee RAM table. Little bit reference we will take, not much, because again the same code for create, delete and update. Why to explain? Here we have implemented entity method also. No need to worry about the entity method, but for the creating, what we were doing, just we were reading the data. That is not big thing I can do here itself. Where is my, so if you see importing, if you click on F2, you can see the importing, exporting and all the parameter. Let me increase. And as you already know from my previous video, this data provider will give us the data, whatever the payload we are passing. And since we are doing create operations, so creation of the data we can get here. But let me update first, update 1. Let me do F2 over here. You can see here also we have data provider. We have to read method is there inside this. So what we can do, let me click on enter button. I have to call this method basically. Control V, which method? Control space you will do. 1 second. The data provider, read, control space. Oh, sorry guys, there is no method in update. IU data provider only. I'm doing correct place. F2, let me do F2 again. IU data provider. Okay, it's not working. There is some issue in this class. Control F3 let me do first, and let me again do control V. Sometimes there is some error, then it will not work. Read entries, shift enter. You can see now it is working. And control shift greater than, we can pass here, we can get the data. We know what data type will be. To see the data type, what you have to do, let me go to my DPC class. So if you go to your DPC class, not DPC, MPC class, let me close this DPC class. Let me go to this DPC class of this one. It is already open somewhere. It was open. Let me open from here DPC class. There is DPC extension class. We can open easily from here. MPC class, sorry, not DPC class. Sometime I get confused. Let me open from here MPC class, where we can see all the runtime artifacts and all. Let me open here parallelly. So in the MPC class, what is the type we have for this particular entity type? So you can see this is the type TEC. This type we want to get the data. So I will create inline declaration first. You can give ls data and control 1 you can do declare local variable, and instead of type any, this should be type of this particular type. You can see you can get the type from the your MPC class. So it is already got generated, but you can, this is in public section. To access this one, you have to use this one, control V, like that you can access. Now the data, if you see F2, this is entity type. The whatever the data we are sending, it will be filled in here. Once the data we got, we want to update, obviously. We just go to lock our table and update the data. And before going that, one more important we have to fill ls data. We have to do most important thing, control space, ETag value we have to update. ETag I can't, hashtag value. So this hashtag value we have to update each time when we are creating the data or when we are updating the data. So to get the hashtag value, let me create one more method over here. Local method I will create, which will calculate the hash for me. Calculate hash. Inside this, I will pass this ls data is a data, and as a result I will get this hashtag value. So as of now I don't have any method. Just control 1 and implement this, create this method. This is the again advantage of Eclipse to generate a lot of methods on the way. You can see this type is automatically taken based on this type and this type, hashtag type and ls data type. Let me just click on finish button. The one private method got created. You can see which have the importing data as a type of this one, and it is returning data type of a hashtag value. Inside this calculate, let me first click on control F3. In the calculate hash method, the most important thing first, what we have to do, we have to call one function. Call function calculate underscore control space or I control. We have to give the call function name, calculate, caps lock is on, calculate control space hash for row. This is the function module. That's the advantage of again Eclipse help. Except enter you can do. You have to pass here data and you have to get the exception. If it is there, then you can do control shift greater than, and obviously you have to pass some data. F2 if you do importing data, control C and control V, and F2 again you can do, and result you can get control C. You can change this result and name if you want to pass as value you want to get, so it will return you as value. Okay, one more important, don't forget we have to do little bit, we should not pass this directly this data. If you see this one F2, this is the X string format. So let me declare one X string data LV string type X string, and let me convert this data to row data because we are using row data function module. So for that you have to use one little bit syntax you have to remember. Export this data to buffer and generate export, not end method, export. We have to give some ID name, ID equal to some name LV string to data buffer, their help is there, and to data buffer I forgot the syntax, I think so. One second. And this data we have to pass instead of this one. Control C, Control V. Export ID equal to importing data we have to pass to data buffer LV string. So importing data, what we were having, F2, Control C, Control V. And we are converting basically this data in the X string format, and we are passing into buffer. That will be this calculate hash core row method, the access from data from there, and it will generate the hash value and it will give in the result set. You have to remember the syntax. I also remembered, or I also rarely use, so you have to do like this. Shift F1, Control F3. Once it is done, hash is generated, we have passed this value. This is the additional thing we are doing only, where we are generating hash. I think again server got down or my system got stuck. Let's wait for 5 seconds. Okay, I know. Let me do Alt F8, SM12, unlock this all the objects. It's taking little bit time, it's okay. Select, delete. Oh, I would have select all. Select, delete. Let me do Control F3. And it got activated. That's it. It's simple. We have calculated the hash. It will generate each time one new value based on your data. If your data will change, then this hashtag value will be changed. And finally, what we are doing, we are updating. So I will just simply update part. It's just go log the table and update. So you can see the update method. You can just use the same thing, whatever we are using. Control C, Control. One more thing we have to do. We have to create one model work area. In this case, this will not work. I thought copy paste will work. So LSZ employee RAM, Control C, Control V. Data, I can Control C. Let me declare one more data type over here. Data, Control V, type of Control V, G employee RAM, because our entity type and this particular table type is different in this case. So we directly can't use this data. If you see this type, we don't have the timestamp field, we don't have mandate field. So these fields are not available in our entity type. But in this case, in our previous project, that was same. That is the reason directly we did. So in this case, we have to use move corresponding ls data to this data. Control C, Control V. That's it. Shift F1. Previously, we used the timestamp value as a ETag. Now we are using this hashtag value as a ETag. That's a simple difference we are doing. Let me do Control F3. It's done. We generated the hashtag value and we have updated our table. You have to lock and unlock. You have to do. This is how we have to do our update part. And create part also you can just implement. We can go ahead and implement. In this case, same way we have to read the data. Control C. There is no much difference. And we have to update the hashtag value also same way. Control C, Control V. And before, one little bit part we have to do, the data is available or not, we have to check those part, but those things I am not writing. I think previously also we didn't write, so just you have to insert the data, that's it, nothing else. So this is Control C and Control V, same code we have to write, and instead of update, insert we have to write. Lock and unlock you can do as usual. Shift F1. In this case, there is some issue. We have data, we move corresponding. Let me do Control F3. So we did here also same. Just we got the data, updated mandate field, timestamp field, inserted, move corresponding, size subars in exception. You have to do this exception part for each and everything you have to do. That I'm not handling. I'm just explaining the functionality. That's it. Control F3. Update then, create then, delete also very simple. You can do the delete part as well. Again, in the delete part, we have to read the key field like we usually do. But last time we used the IT key table. This time we do a little bit differently. And one of the comment also I got, why we can't use IOTech request. Obviously, we have to use IOTech request to get the key tape table. Whatever the data we want to get the service, we have to use from this only. Get keys method is there, some. So tap enter, it will return one table. You can do inline declaration, IT underscore keys. These all are the programming thing. And once we get the keys, the same thing we have to do. We have to get the employee ID, this same employee ID value. Other things are same. Control C, Control V. And this time, what I will do, I have to declare this one, Control C. I'm doing a lot of Control C, Control V because I don't want this. Already I have explained my previous videos. Just we are getting the key, Control C and Control V. This time keys table we will use. Once we get the value, we will check it is available. If it is available, then go ahead and delete. That part is same. So again, we delete part, we are writing Control V. What we are doing, we are passing the key field, means that whatever the ID we got, just check it is available. It is not available, just raising expression, then delete from this based on the side. Here we don't have any change. We are not comparing any ETag value or something like that. We have to do that part. We will do later. Control F3. I just want to explain first basic functionality. Let me close. This is not required, and this is also not required. This is also not required. So this is how we have Shift F1, Control F3. We implemented create, delete, and the update method. One of the guy asked me to explain how we do for CDS. This is the way. No change. We have whatever we are doing in the normal project, we have to do same way here as well. So there is no much difference over here. Just I did little bit different. Instead of getting the timestamp value, I'm calculating the hashtag value, and that I'm passing here. That's a small change we have done. Let me test quickly how it is working. So let me go to my, is it locked? Obviously it is, it will lock. Let me close. This one is not required. I have, what I will do, I will open again. Here this is also not working. So this is server is time is very less. They should give at least 5 minutes. Let me open again. Let me close this one and let me open again. You can see it got opened. You can come here, GW client. No, SAP gateway client. Yes. Get entity set. Which entity sets? You have to give your entity set name and add URI option. We will give format equal to JSON, and just we will pass that entity which we were changing 15, I think so. Execute it. We will get the data. Use as a request. Let me put some of the breakpoints over in our class. So let me minimize. This is not required. Table data we will be needing. Table we don't require, but table data we will be needing. Oh, I didn't display the table data. Let me open again table. Let me do F8. Table data we will be required. Neither CDS view don't required. That CKL class, this we have already done. Hashtag value, this will, we can see the impact as well. So it is there. So let me close this one and we can see from here refresh data 15 Venkat. Let me increase the CT Karnataka Bengaluru, and that's it. Let me now quickly execute this data. How data we are getting, you can see the data we are getting. Now I want to update the data. As soon as I click on put, let me remove this metadata is not needed, and let me change something. Instead of Karnataka Bengaluru, we will put Bangalore. That's it. And just execute, try to execute, post this change is reflecting in our database. Let me put breakpoints over there. I didn't put breakpoints. Let me put in DPC class, all the method, create entity method, update entity, delete entity method, and the update entity method. And hashtag it will call automatically, no need to worry. Let me do Alt Tab and let me execute. The first thing you will see, the data service contains the system query option that are, what is the error? That are not allowed for this. Okay, we should remove this one, and in update we should not pass the system query option. Let me execute again. Okay, it got triggered. Ideally it should not get triggered. Switch to ABAP perspective. Why it got triggered, I don't know. Let me see app 6. Anyway, we are getting the data. Ideally it should not get triggered. Let me terminate and disconnect all. Let me go to ABAP perspective. Let me see my deep MPC extension class got activated or not. That is very important for me because I set this particular property is a ETag. I got the define method, then I got the call the define method, and I redefine the define method, and I got this type. I got this property hashtag and set as a ETag. Let me do Control F3 again, because it should ask whenever we are doing update, it should ask for the ETag value. In this case, I'm doing update, but still it is not asking. Let me execute again. Oh, I have to clear out the switch. One thing I have to do, terminate, disconnect all. It again, let me clear the cache. Let me increase little bit size, metadata, clean up the cache, and try to execute again. Now we are getting that the data service request required to be conditional, try to use if match header. I think I didn't activated this particular MPC extension class. You have to activate, since this is the where it went. We should activate this class, and this property is hashtag value, and whenever we do the modification operation we should get this error. The mandatory to pass this hashtag value. If you are not passing this particular value, you should get this error, precondition failed. Then only you are working, hashtag property is working, otherwise it is not working. So let me use as a request again. So I'm not passing, I don't know what is the hashtag value. I can copy from here the hashtag value is there, but it should be in proper format. Let me add the URI option, $format equal to JSON, and get the data again to copy the hashtag value. So you can come here, you can see the what is the format. This is the hashtag value got generated. By default, what we can say, the by default whatever we are doing in this table, the hashtag value was for this particular table entry, hashtag value was already there. You can see I was created some other project, due to that this hashtag value was there. For other line entries, the hashtag values are not there. You have to go and update and create for each and everything the hashtag values, or you can from here and onwards you can create the new entry also using the create entity method. That also fine for your testing purpose, I'm telling. As of now we have hashtag value, no need to worry. Control Y, Control C, use as a request. You have to pass the hashtag value as well. So if match, like we did in my previous video, if you remember, Control V, enter. To work this update we have to pass put method, and what we have to change, we have to remove the metadata and just remove this Karnataka Bangalore, just to make little bit change. Just make Bangalore, and that's it. Just execute and try to execute and see how it is working. Let me execute again. I hope so. Okay, bad request, what it is telling. Oh, again we have to remove this one and execute again. You can see the breakpoint got triggered. So this time it is correct. Previously it got breakpoint, but that was not the way, because we didn't activated the MPC extension class. So our ETag property was not set. So anyway it will trigger, but we have to work with ETags. So to work with ETags, that particular property set as a ETag, and you try to normal update you will do, it will not work. You have to pass the if match value, then only it should work. Let me do data check. I got the data. If I see the data format, I got everything correctly, and this time I got Bangalore, but in my table we have the Karnataka Bangalore. So that's correct. If you want to go to the debugging point, you just click here, it will take you, it will generate the hashtag value. Let me do first time F5. We are passing this value, whatever the data we got, we passed in here, and we got the data in form of LV string. You can see it got generated in the form of the string format, X string format. That string we will pass here and get the hashtag value for this string. Let me do F6. Sasabas is 0. If you see this result, this is the hashtag value. This will be different for each data. So in this case, this is the hashtag value. Control C. If I do F5, that I will update in the database whenever I'm updating the data in the database. F5, and you have to update the data G employee Ram from the LS employee Ram. F5, and let me do F8. Go to my table, refresh the data. See, Bangalore, we can see we are able to update the data successfully. Same way we can check the create and delete as well. It is working or not. Let me use the create and delete quickly. So for that, let me put post method, remove the key field from here, use this another key field, use another name. What name I can use? Krishna or Radhe Krishna I can use. Radhe Krishna. Caps lock on. And let it be other things same. No need to change everything. Let me change a little bit so we can understand quickly. And let me execute this one. This time post method, and in the post method, create method, we don't need to pass hashtag value. Just we have to go and send the data. So let me execute this one this time. So what ETag handling not supported for HTTP post. So we have to remove this if match value and then execute this one. Now breakpoint got triggered. We got the data same way. We calculated the hash, we updated the hash, and we have added this entry F8. We have to lock unlock thing we have to do properly over here. I didn't use table lock. Refresh here. 16 entry got added. Create also working successfully. Let me delete this 15th one and see my delete is working or not. So for that, let me use delete, and we have to pass the key field 15, and this time no need to pass the payload, and just go and delete, execute. Precondition failed. Okay, first we have to get the data. For delete also we have to pass, I think, ETag value. Let me execute. Let me see the ETag value for 15. What was the ETag value? You can see from here. In header I can't see the ETag value. It's a blank. For 15 the ETag value is blank. Let me refresh the data. Why it is blank? There should be some value. Oh, why the ETag value is blank? Let me re-execute my update method. Put or create method, anything. Put method, or let me put method. For put method I need the data. So add URI option. $format equal to JSON. Let me execute this one. Use as a request. Precondition failed. Okay, I have to get the data, sir. Execute. Use as a request. And what I will do in this case, I don't have ETag, so I will pass same control Y. Why the ETag value is not control C? I think I did some mistake. Let me pass if match. Pass this value. Control V. Enter. Let me delete this one. And let me pass again SAP Technomaniac, SAP Y Technomaniac. I will pass YouTube Technomaniac. Okay, let me execute. No need to pass this format equal to JSON. Let me put and execute this one. Breakpoint should trigger. Switch to breakpoint. I just want to debug. F6. Why this hashtag value is not updating? That I want to see. F6, 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 F6. The LS data. No, I want to check this hashtag value. Hashtag value came now. LS data hashtag value. Oh, we don't have hashtag in GA employee RAM table. Why it is not updating? We have ETag. That is the problem. We changed in the CDS, but we didn't change in the, what we can say, in our table. So what you have to do here, one line change we have to do to update the ETag value correctly. We have to pass in the LSD employee RAM ETag equal to the ls data hashtag, because CDS we have changed the field name, but in the table still if you see the field name is the hashtag. So that we have to take care. So small change we have to do. I thought why it is not updating the hash values. Control V, control space, ETag. These are the real time when we create the things we will face this kind of issues. Or we can control C, control V, control F3, or control F3. Now it will work. Let me come out, terminate, disconnect all, ABAP perspective, control F3. One more time, let me activate. Its active objects are generated for this one. That's good. Let me clear the metadata cache, clean the cache, and try to re-execute again. This time switch ABAP debugger F6, 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 F6. I think ETag value now we are getting correctly F8. And if you go to ABAP perspective, debugger F8 is done or not? It's done. ABAP perspective, and let me see the values now. ETag value should update. Oh, it's updating correctly now. ETag value. So whatever we are getting for 15. Let me update for 16 also. For 16, I have to get the data for 16. Like that you have to do. Get data, add URI option, JSON format, execute, use as a request, copy the ETag value, or you can pass this to hash this time. ETag value is same, I think so. So no need to worry. So this time I will just want to update the same data. Instead of put operation, we have already passed this one. Let me execute. Wow, bad request. Obviously we have to remove this one, execute. Let me do F8, switch, F8. I think it will work. It got terminated. Let me refresh it out, this data. I think it got updated for the 16th entry as well. Like that we can update the, create and update. Let me show you quickly delete is working or not. Let me delete the 15th entry and just click on delete. And this time let me just execute, delete. We don't need any payload. Okay. So we have to pass the ETag value. We are passing the wrong ETag value. As I told you, when we read the data and when somebody else is updated, so we have to pass correct ETag value. You have to click on edit button and you have to pass the hashtag value inside this one. I think so. Here we have to pass hashtag value, then it will work. Let me copy this. Which one is 15th? You double click, copy and paste. I think it should work. Delete. Or you can read again and get the hashtag value. Like that also we can do. I hope so this should work. Let me execute quickly. Invalid ETag format. I think we have to get again. Execute. Get 15th. Okay, what is issue now? Image remove. Just get the data of 15 data. We got the data. We want to see the ETag value. ETag value is this one. Control C. I think I did something mistake. Control C. Add this one. If match. When we delete also we have to pass the ETag value. That's very important for us. Delete this time and just execute this one. Still getting error. What error this time? Busy blocked UI preventing debugger. Let me see my delete method. I have some issue with my delete method. I don't think so. Delete method is having breakpoint. Update is there. Delete is there. IT keys I'm getting, employee ID. I think there is some issue. A debugger perspective I'm not able to get. Let me try again. Now that got triggered. I think there is some issue. F6 IT keys we got, and oh, I have to change this to ID. Got it. Delete. This is not employee ID. Copy paste again. Copy paste issue. This should be ID. The name should be ID, not employee ID. Let's wait for a few minutes, few seconds. ID, let me close it out and control F3. Obviously it will not work, I know, because I will not get employee ID and we will be getting this error. Employee is all not available in the system. Okay, let me close this inline. Control F3. Let it activate. Let me do F8 as well. Go to ABAP perspective. Let me go to ABAP perspective and okay, let me re-execute again. Previously we were getting some error. I think this error where it is updating. Here it is. If context service unknown, internal server, there is some error. You can go SAP gateway and you can see that we can see not an issue. Just you can click on delete this time and re-execute again. I have to clean the case, switch F8. Oh, it's done. F8. Oh, sir. It got successfully now. So if you see, go and see the data. Now 15 entries not there. Refresh it out. It's gone. Get entity method working, delete working, create working, and update also working. Everything is working. But you have not noticed till now, we didn't do any implementation to do the ETag handling by code-based approach. Code-based approach means we have to write the code, then we have to check the ETag values, and we have to get the ETag values, and we have to compare the ETag value. If it is matching, then we have to go for the update. And as I promised that I didn't do till now that before the update, before the still here we are doing only the update part. If I have to update log, I have to use here control shift less than. If I would have used log, so before update I have log object I have to create, then I have to log here, I have to enqueue here, and I have to call dequeue function module before the update and before the delete. So that I have to do. But as I told you, we always do like, for example, enqueue. Just assume I have called enqueue function, enqueue-fm, and I have called here dequeue-fm. I can create, there is no issue, dequeue and enqueue-fm. But just to avoid the timing and all, just to explain only the OData concepts. So I would have created enqueue-fm and dequeue-fm. But ideally, first it would have got some data, read data, and then it would have compared the ETag, and then it came to here. So still the code is working based on the framework. We didn't do any implementation. So how it is working? For that, let me show you. We have one super class for this DPC extension class. Let me go to the control F3 first. Let me go to the DPC class. You can see get entity method is there. This get entity method is already getting the data. Let me put breakpoint. It is already there. So whenever we are doing update, it will get the data from here first. Then it is comparing with the update data, and ETag values are matching. Then it is happening. So it was happening our previous project also. We didn't do still the code based implementation. Let me show you quickly one more time. Entity set value I will get Z employee RAM, add URI option, format equal to JSON. Let me get any value. Let me get 15, 16, any value I can get. And let me execute this one get. Get method got triggered. Let me switch ABAP perspective. It is triggering and we are getting from the data from the get entity method. That is fine. But during update also, let me put post user is a request, remove the unnecessary metadata, control Z, And since we are doing update request, Control Z, I did something wrong. Metadata we have to delete, not this one. And since we are updating, let me make it 80. And we have ETag value also. We have to pass mandatorily because we are updating. Control Y, Control C, and add ETag value if match, and Control V. That's it. And put operation we are doing, and remove this format equal to JSON not required. If you execute now and see, surprisingly, not surprisingly, I showed you previous video also, it is calling first get entity method. It is getting the ETag value, framework comparing the ETags. If it is matching, then only it is called the our update method. Otherwise it would have not. Let me do F8. So you can see it called the update method, and data got updated successfully in the system. It got updated successfully. Suppose I re-execute with the same ETag and I change something else. Like let me pass 90 and let me execute again. If you see here, it again called the get entity method. Let me do update F8. It got terminated, but this time it didn't call the update entity method. Means ETag value got mismatched, and precondition failed. We are getting the error. State of resource is already changed. That kind of error we are getting through the OData standard. This is done by the framework implementation. We didn't do anything. I want to do my own implementation to match and mismatch. Not only that, here what we are doing, if you see clearly in my DPC extension class, where it is, this is MPC class, DPC extension class. If you see, I'm locking the, here I am doing lock and unlock, and between the read and update, if somebody, between the read method call and update and entity method call, somebody updated the data, even in the read method it got matched, and when it come to update method, data already got changed by somebody, and I'm changing again, and my ETag concept will go away here, because we are having different method read and update. So how to handle this kind of scenario? So this is the one way where we need really ETag handling by ourselves. And not only here, in the function import also, I want to do the ETag handling for myself, for my entity type or my function import name. How we can do that? Since this video is becoming longer, we will see that thing in my next video, and we will start from here only. Before going to that video, please like this video, share this videos with others as well. With that, thank you and happy learning.